I'm very purpose driven. And actually my productivity is wellness driven productivity. So that's what I speak on, the wellness part of the productivity, because if you're not well, you can't be productive.
Connected Conversations with Lena Perova. Bridging worlds, one conversation at a time.
All right, welcome to the Connected Conversations, where we're talking about challenges in various communities, and we're talking to leaders from various communities all working on bringing positive impact. Today we have Lindsay Kinslow. Lindsay is an expert veteran advocate. She is a workflow innovator. She's a keynote speaker and author, and she's specializing in management, business strategy, and time management.
Yeah.
So what I can say, Lindsay, that every single time when I see you, you always smile, you're always together, you're always ready to go. So please tell us, what's your secret?
Oh, my secret is you just have to get it done. So just dig deep, find what works for you, and move forward.
Well, I think that you have a very interesting story. I have to say thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Come from military.
Yeah.
You spent how many years? 16 years?
Yes. 14 years. I'm medically retired at 14.
14 years in military, and then you got out of military. You became a CEO.
Yeah.
You advocate. You work with the community of veterans. I know that you also work with the foster care children.
Yeah.
So tell us tell us about your life, how you got to military, then from military you made it to CEO. You dedicate a lot of time to advocating. So tell us about you. What's your story?
Yeah. So I can start from, the military. Joined the military just trying to, figure out direction. I was young. I was in the medical field prior to the military, so I knew I didn't want to do that. Came in as a human resource specialist. I wanted to know how the military operated so I could help others in the military navigate, the process and just the Army in general. From, the military, I was stationed 7 or 8 different duty stations, which added to, my vast knowledge that I have and experience was widely from the military, and being in these different environments and being able to speak with different people, different communities and cultures. When I got out of the military, I knew I wanted to be a veteran advocate because of my own experience of getting out of the military and navigating that process. So I became a veteran advocate, worked for a very large nonprofit, climbed the ranks because I was eager, right? I wanted to know how the VA operated so I can help other veterans navigate that process, especially the ones that got out before me, because the process was very, very hard then. I would say I perfected that. I've helped thousands and thousands of veterans across the world. I'm always getting feedback from veterans every single day about how I've helped them. And it makes me, move forward. The veteran community is very, very, not ignored, but we're the underdogs. We're underserved. And we, yes, sacrificed a lot to our nation, our families, our friends. And I do think that we deserve a little bit more than what we get, especially the transition period. Now I'm full-blown, almost 10 years into this, full-blown advocate. That's my life. This is what I do. I advocate not only for veterans, but also for children in foster care because they are also underserved. So that is basically, what I do, the CEO role, I established my business, Optimal Business Solutions, in 2021 because the pandemic brought on a lot of challenges. A lot of people didn't, a lot of business owners that I was connected to, they didn't have the skills necessary to pivot online. And I did. I'm a tech person. So I came in and I followed a few of my friends and I helped them set up their systems and their processes that they thought that they didn't have. So I helped them set that up. And then now it's, moving on to organizations and getting into the organizations, larger organizations, and helping with the employee wellness. Because if your employees aren't happy, your business isn't going to grow and thrive the way that you want it to grow and thrive.
You're very purpose-driven.
I'm very purpose-driven. And actually, my productivity is wellness-driven productivity. So that's what I speak on, the wellness part of the productivity. Because if you're not well, you can't be productive.
That is very true.
Yes.
Let's go back to veteran community. What do you see? What is in your opinion, the biggest challenge that community is going through?
The biggest challenge I feel that veterans go through is the transition period. There is no blue book. There's no one helping you. When you start go into the military, the drill sergeants, they break you down, right, to build you up into who they want you to be, but no one, reverses that. So you get out of the military with those same mindset and the same, doing the same thing that you were doing in the military. It doesn't really fit into the civilian world. And so that's where a lot of veterans feel excluded from the world, right? Because they don't have the same, civilians don't have the same mindset as, veterans do.
And in your opinion, if us as a community of civilians, if we are to assist and if we are to help for the transition, what would be our steps?
Yes, so that's a great question. I also go into organizations and I provide training for organizations on how to manage the veteran population. But one thing that I can say is that you do have to understand that veterans, we are unique. We come with our own set of skills. A lot of us, we are, how do I say it? Outspoken. I'll just say it like that. We're outspoken, and it's not always a great fit in an organization. Our tact might not be where it should be in an organization. So for me, I think having training available for veterans who are transitioning, having a training program established within your organization will help a lot. Yeah.
And I know today I'm a CEO myself, and I like working with veterans because, in my opinion, veterans are very organized.
Yeah.
They're very direct, and they bring lots of knowledge. In my industry, we work with the veterans who served in the linguists, divisions. In your opinion, if businesses will start, if they start employ veterans, what recommendations you would give to those businesses?
So one, you do have to understand that veterans, we are unique. We bring a set of skills to the table that, one, you don't have to pay for. So it saves you money, right? We're already trained to do that. Not only that, but we can come into your organization and train others in your organization.
So I'm going to summarize here that the help that we can arrange for veterans who are coming and transitioning into the civilian world, first, arranging some programs would be very helpful. Opinion, right? Hiring more veterans, and they bring a lot of knowledge. They bring skills that are already being provided and trained while they were serving.
That's correct. Yes, we come, we're disciplined. You give us a task, we're going to get it done, because in the military, you give us a task and it's up to us to get from point A to point B, utilizing the resources that we have available. So you don't have to give us a step-by-step of what needs to get done. You just give us the mission and we complete it.
And so how did you transition from being military veteran CEO?
The transition, I'm not even going to lie, it's hard. So it's, mostly for me, it was mindset. I had to switch my mindset from being a soldier to being a civilian, and then now a CEO, which isn't far off from being a soldier, because, you have to be self-motivated. You do have to have discipline as a CEO. You have to get things done. You don't have, there's no instruction manual of how to run your business, because it's your business, right? You're creating that instruction manual. So because of that, I feel as though veterans settle in well into the role of a CEO. But it does take a mindset shift, because you have to go from that employee role to, now I'm running this large organization. But veterans, we do have those leadership positions that actually help us lead up to a CEO role.
And not just you run your own company, and not just you are CEO yourself. Now you're doing lots of work on strategy.
Yeah.
Your time management.
Yes.
Can you talk to us?
Yes. So in the military, my job, I worked, in infantry. I worked in the healthcare. I worked at 3-letter agencies in DC. So I've learned how about strategic planning, how important strategic planning is as a CEO. Yeah. So for me, in my MBA, learning about, Lean and Six Sigma, I always wanted to make sure that, my businesses operated with, without the fluff, right? How are we going to get from point A to point B with the least amount of steps and still have the quality, and then the employees are happy and our product, our clients are happy. So that's what I try to pass on to other organizations through my trainings.
It's okay. And you also wrote a book. And can you tell us about the book that you...
Yeah, so I wrote a book, Workflow and Automation Strategies for Increased Productivity. This was something I literally just said, I need to do this, because businesses weren't understanding what streamlined operations were, what automations was, how it's going to grow your business. A lot of businesses were used to the solopreneur life, doing it all by themselves, manually doing things, but you weren't growing. The pandemic, I think, opens a lot of people's eyes, and it's like, okay, now I have to be competitive. How can I be competitive? Well, streamline your workflows, automate your workflows, make sure that you don't have, unnecessary steps in there. And that's the main reason why I wrote this book, was to get this out here to other business owners, to let them know, like, hey, you can compete with Giant. you can compete with Toyota, but these are the things that you need to put in place in order to be on the same, playing field as these larger organizations.
And your clients, the businesses that are using your services right now, who are the clients? Which communities they're coming?
I have a lot of veteran clients.
So that's veteran-owned businesses.
Yes, I do a lot of veteran-owned businesses, not because I market to just them, but because they just come to me. I'm a veteran. I'm known as a veteran advocate. So a lot of coaches and consultants, health and wellness. Health and wellness is a big part of me. So healthcare industries, I help with them as well.
That's fantastic. Those are all the areas that require a lot of improvement, in my opinion.
Yes.
And let's go to what I would like to talk to you about is diversity and equality a little bit. And as a veteran advocate and as a woman,
yes,
in a typical male-dominated environment and field, what strategies do you find the most effective advocating for veteran needs and promoting gender diversity and equality in the workplace? So, what would you recommend?
Yeah. So, one thing I will bring to light is in the military as a woman, especially as a Black woman, you tend to feel as though you're not enough. Nothing you do is enough, right? You're not as good as your male counterparts. That's how you feel, right? So when you get out of the military, you have to reverse that way of thinking. You have to reverse it. It's going to take a lot of work to do that. But that's why also, these organizations should establish these trainings, communities to let them know like that they're included, right? Because you spend a lot of time in the military feeling like you're not included because you're not a white male, you're not a male, you're not a white woman, all of these things. So now you have to reverse that way of thinking. These organizations can develop programs to help facilitate that.
And in the veteran community, where do we stand today with gender diversity and equality and the programs that are being developed for female and male veterans?
Well, I can say that now the VA they are doing more to assist women veterans, but I think it's important to go out into the communities and form allies with different organizations. That's also what I do. I go out, I find organizations that help veteran women, and specifically, so I can refer women veterans to these organizations. But in any business, I feel like that's what they should do as well. Partner with someone in the community that's helping veterans or helping women veterans. There's a lot of nonprofits out here have that strong partnership with them, so they can help facilitate that as well.
I'm curious, is there any research or current numbers? I know that as a CEO, you're working with a lot of businesses and veteran-owned businesses. Mm-hmm. What is the ratio, even maybe not approximate, maybe not exact, but approximate ratio in terms of the females versus male veteran-owned businesses?
I will say that so when I last looked up the stats, we women veterans were, establishing businesses at a greater rate. than the males, which is great,
Yeah.
right? We have a long way to go, but which is great, because that means to me that we are understanding our worth, right? We know our worth. We know we're capable,
Adjustable.
adaptable, like all of these things, resilience, like all of this is like coming to my mind, and it makes me feel good when I do meet a woman veteran-owned business that's striving for excellence.
That's definitely a lot to celebrate.
Yeah, it is.
Because especially coming out of pandemic, I noticed that a lot, the numbers were going up before pandemic when I was looking at female C-level jobs and titles.
Yeah.
And then after pandemic, they dropped because who is going to stay with kids at home?
Right.
So the choice was made. And I'm so glad.
Yeah.
The information that you're sharing right now.
Yeah, a lot of people, of course, established a business since the pandemic, so much so that Maryland has 3 tracks to file your business, right? To get your business established, because there's so many businesses that were established since the pandemic, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help establish those processes early on into your business, so you don't have to be 10 years in and trying to run your business and establish your processes at the same time. You're always going to be in constant improvement, but if you establish those processes early on, then it's going to make your the longevity of your business stronger.
And I know that you work a lot on time management and how people with the time management.
I do.
It's one of your strongest, your business strongest services that you provide. And I'm curious, can you share with us a specific example of a time management challenge that you experience either in military or during your CEO times? Or maybe both.
Yeah.
You have both stories that you can share with us that you address effectively.
Yeah. So, in particularly, I remember when I was in the military and I got word while I was in Iraq that I was going to be moving the division from Texas to Colorado. And I was in charge of, my section, making sure everything moved, right? So this is when I had to literally figure it out. I was in charge of millions and millions of dollars of equipment, safes and classified information, like all of this stuff. And there was a timeline. So I had to get with the shippers. I had to get, containers. I had to do all this stuff. I wasn't even 30 years old yet. I was a young sergeant in the military. And that's when I had to I literally had to figure it out. Resources, right? I had to go to the different resources, figure out who could actually help me. Delegate. So I learned how to delegate tasks. I learned how to prioritize what's more important. Well, these are the milestones or these are the deadlines. So I had to prioritize, against the deadlines, but also, break those tasks down into smaller tasks. So when these smaller tasks are done, the big task is done. But that doesn't mean you're assigned a task. That doesn't mean you have to do it all yourself. So that's where I think I got my start with time management. My real start with time management. And then since then, struggling, not really struggling, but sometimes it's a struggle with, chronic pain and stuff. You have to make sure that you meet these deadlines, but you have to also work in between your body. You have to listen to your body. So that's where I had to strengthen my time management. Again, prioritize, right? Lists. I do lists. I prioritize everything by day. Sometimes it's like morning and afternoon, right? Because again, I am living with a chronic condition that I have to manage my time differently. But what I'm realizing is it's not as different as I think. These are the skills that other people need. And so that's how I, start helping people. I help them manage their calendar. I put everything on there from self-care to brushing your teeth, right? I help, people with their calendar. Also, just making sure that your life aligns with your values. That helps a lot. That helps me a lot because when my life is not aligned with my personal values, I tend to procrastinate. Yes.
Can you speak more on this? Because I'm so much a huge believer in the fact that people, purpose-driven people, they live longer, they age better, they have drive to wake up. That's the reason why you wake up in the morning. You cannot wait to wake up and go to the thing that you're looking forward to do, because that's your purpose and your values.
Yes. So what I learned after being diagnosed with fibromyalgia and just trying to streamline a life that aligns with me, I realized that I was checking stuff off, getting all these degrees and stuff like that. But behind the scenes, I was not, maybe turning in things on time or, had to get extensions and all this other stuff. Not because the school didn't align, but because the life around me didn't align with my values. So once I sat down, it was really, really true with myself and figured out what my values were and aligning, people, my job, like everything had to literally be rearranged. So I could get up and live my purpose every morning. Because when I was working at, the first nonprofit I started working at, it wasn't the work that wasn't aligned with me. It was the commuting from Odenton to DC and, dealing with the chronic pain and all of that. Like that wasn't aligned. So once I realized that, it's easier for me to manage my life because of the values. And my body will tell me if it's not aligning. And if it doesn't align, that's it. I have to make
values.
So I have a lot of them. So first and foremost, I have to put, wellness first. So my overall well-being is first. My time, I do better managing my own time, having control of my calendar and not somebody else controlling it. That makes me feel better. So time. I love to travel. So traveling, loyalty goes a long way. And I know with these organizations, you're like, oh, well, people aren't, the organization isn't loyal to you. But if you have, if you're a leader that provides that healthy work environment for your employees are going to be loyal to you. And everybody around you is going to be loyal to you. And so I think that's some of them.
How do you feel about employees who are joining the organization and aligning their personal values with the values of the organization? We spend so much time at work, and again, going back to the purpose.
Yes. My last interview I was on, I was prepared. I was asking them about, wellness and like, the work-life culture, like all of that is important to me. So if you expect me to answer an email at 9 p.m. and it's outside of my normal working hours, then we don't align, because I'm not, that's not how I'm working. You get these hours and that's it. So, it's very important to align yourself with the values of an organization. If you're gonna attempt to be happy in that job.
And when you work with organizations that you're working on business strategy, you work on process innovation.
Yes.
So what would be your recommendation on improving operational efficiency and planning for future? Would you find the most I would say the most essential in that respect?
So when it comes to streamlining processes,
particularly for the efficiency and
yes.
planning for the future.
One thing I feel as though organizations do not do enough of is bringing their employees in on that, because one, they do the work. They do the work. They know how to do it, right? Also, they feel inclusive, right? I'm included. I'm part of the team. I'm part of the decision making. And that's very important when, innovating these processes, is getting the right people in the room to make sure that the process is exactly how, you say it is. And that, that there's, so the person who's doing it, they can tell you what portions can be automated, what can stay manual, what the clients want, right? What the customers want, because they work with them, one-on-one, as opposed to the CEO who is far removed, right? I can say, these are my wishes, right? This is how I want it to go. But, I don't do that process all the time. So I'm going to ask my assistants, like, hey, tell me how you do your job. Well, this is what I do. Okay, great. Now I have a better understanding of how that process goes.
Thank you. And now if you can go back to the project of working with the foster care children.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, was there any change after pandemic and the post-pandemic world? What is the current challenge that you're seeing and experiencing the most in this community?
For the foster children, I honestly cannot say that there was a lot of change, unfortunately, in the foster care community, because it seems like it was the same as it was 20 years ago, right? Which is really sad. Kids are still leaving home to home in trash bags. They don't even have suitcases, right? That's still a thing. That was a thing, 20 years ago or so. It's still a thing now. I think the pandemic has, of course, lessened the resources that were available to them before. It seems as though this money is slow. They're slower to get their money, or processes are taking longer. So my one foster youth that I was with, who aged out June of last year, they told her she would have her housing voucher in a couple months. I told her, please do not, bank on that. It took her 9 months to get a housing voucher. 9 months. She had to figure out where she was going to live, how she was going to eat, all of those things. And that was 2023. We're in 2024, and she's still looking for housing because the voucher it doesn't cover this rent. does not cover this rent.
So I'm not very familiar with the system. What do you think in your opinion, what do you think the delay is? Is it due to the bottleneck with the court system?
So I think the delay is these people, right? We're in an era where it's hard to get people to work, right? So there's a lot of shortages. Am I making an excuse? No, because there needs to be, something better in place to make sure that these are expedited. But I will say that one thing is, people. These organizations, even the government, they're not paying people their worth, and people are not coming to work.
There is anything that we can do, the community outside? What would be your recommendation?
For children in foster care, for helping, I would say get involved. Get involved. I am with CASA, court-appointed special advocate. So I am appointed by the magistrate in PG County to, handle these or be around these children. And I'm essentially a mentor, a liaison to make sure that, between the courts and the child, to make sure that they are getting their needs met. And when they're not, they hear from me. Yes. I will be on the phone. I'm calling people. I'm trying to figure things out. I've paid hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to make sure that these children are fed, are clothed. So get involved. If anybody wants to get involved with CASA, I can introduce them to the organization. It's similar to the Big Brother, Big Sister program, if you've heard of that before. The Big Brother, Big Sister. That's Big Brother, Big Sister is where they just pair you with a youth who needs mentorship. So it's similar to that. They pair you with the child. I'm out of PG County. However, my skill set, I help older youth that are like college age. So I can help them prepare for adulthood, making sure that their life skills are in order. A lot of them, they might be 17, 18, but their life skill might be at 14, 12, because they don't have that. They're not being taught that while they're in the system.
Oh, thank you very much, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Lindsay, professional and expert, advocate, CEO, former military, who spent her entire life helping various communities and advocating for various communities.
Yeah.
She is here to share her story. Lindsay, where can we find you? Anybody want to get involved with you and work with you, helping veterans? Tell us about your company. Where can we find
Yes. So my company, Optimal Business Solutions, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Lindsay Kinslow on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram and everything else, but I can't keep up with all these platforms. So LinkedIn and LinkedIn and Facebook is where you'll find me, Lindsay Kinslow, and Optimal Business Solutions. I am also in the process of establishing a nonprofit to help the veteran community. My nonprofit, of course, is not going to be like the others. We are actually filling the gaps, the needs of what the other nonprofits aren't doing. We're going to come in and fill that gap. I have 10 years of market research. So, because since I've gotten out of the military, I've only worked nonprofits, veteran nonprofits. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Lindsay. I'm really looking forward for your new nonprofit.
Thank you.
And I'm sure lots of our listeners are going to be very inspired by your story. And if there is one actionable step that you would recommend for them to take to get involved, which one would that be?
To get involved in the veteran community or just in general?
Oh,
Because I do a lot. So to get involved with the veteran community, you can always reach out to me. I'm very, very connected in the veteran world, and I can definitely point you in the right direction, depending on what your skill set is and how you want to get involved in the community. Again, with the youth, there is a shortage of volunteers and for CASA. So you can always contact me as well, or you can just Google CASA Maryland, CASA PG County, or wherever you are in the world or in the nation, and it will pop up. But I highly recommend getting involved, whether it's for the mentorship or just volunteering at one of the many events that they have. They also seek trainers that can help help volunteers. So if you have a skill set that is needed, you can also pitch your services to them.
thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for listening to our podcast, Connected Conversation. Please help us to grow our community. Check out our website, and we are looking forward to connecting you next time. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks.